Welcome to Forensic Friday,
where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all. I'm so bummed we didn't get to see the movie today.
I know. Did you get your money back?
Yeah, so what I did is so we were stuck in just an epic traffic jam, and Garrett and I are arguing a little bit about which lane to be in, because we're married and that's what married people do. And I'm saying, let's get in the express lane so we can beat the traffic because it had happened maybe 4 or 5 miles ahead of us. I don't know, but it kept growing how long it was going to take. And I was like, we're not going to get there on time. And then everything just kind of stopped.
Oh, no.
So then you will love this. Okay. So this stupid human, and I don't say that lightly, I love everybody.
Yeah, you're pretty nice. Yep.
No, this person was a hypocritical moron. Okay.
Oh, no.
So we decide we also are on empty. My dad is pissed. I called him. I said, Dad, we might need help if we run out of gas because we were going to get gas on the way up. And then we're stuck in this massive traffic jam. What was supposed to take 42 minutes was now an hour and a half.
Oh, my gosh.
Uh-huh. And so I'm telling Garrett, let's get in the express lane. Maybe we can get around some stuff. Nope. Then we're going to the right to try to get off so we can actually get home. We're not even to the next exit up from our house. And we'd already been in the car for an hour. And we had 20 miles left.
That's
of
crazy.
gas. And there's no gas station.
Right.
So we cheat over into the right shoulder because we're like, we have to get off at this next exit or we're going to run out of gas. And there are cars running out of gas on the side of the road. So we try to get over. And then those road warriors who think it's their job to enforce all of the rules all the time?
So they blocked you?
Yep. So we're driving slow and I'm like, Garrett, turn on the hazard. So we turn on the hazards instead of the blinker, thinking maybe he'll understand, like we're actually having an issue with the car. Like if we sit for much longer, we're going to be blocking everybody for hours.
We're super screwed.
Exactly. We're not just trying to get somewhere faster. Okay. We're in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
So we're behind this schmo for, I don't even know, 20 minutes, something like that. And then all of a sudden he gets over on the shoulder and drives off the road. I'm like, oh, look who had a change of heart, Mr. Warrior Man.
What a jackwagon.
100%. And you know what? Mac from the back seat goes, I don't like him at all.
Of course not.
Mac was yelling in the back seat. He was not. The whole thing was stressful for him.
Oh.
So then we get home, but he was going to see Aunt Nat. He was going to see Grandpa Bob. He was so excited. So we'll just have to catch it a different day. It'll be fine.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So we're kind of at that season where college football starts, which makes me
so happy.
I mean, I am just on another level, all of college football.
Exactly.
That being said, my team was not looking amazing. So I'm a little nervous, but I still cheer for them no matter what.
Yeah.
But they're showing like little commercials, little previews that are starting to be a little creepier. And so all we have to say is Mac, and he like covers his eyes.
Oh my gosh.
Because he's only 8, but I'm not about to be up all night because he saw a clip of a upcoming scary movie,
Right.
Which is funny. And he wants to listen to the podcast. I'm like, oh, baby, this was just not for children.
Yeah.
It's not for children. I let him listen to the bloopers. That's about it.
Well, that's great.
And he loves that. We listen to that pretty frequently in the car. He's like, I want to hear the bloopers. So tonight I have one for, I guess, this afternoon. I don't even know. What is it outside? I'm in a cave.
It's 5.
It's like late afternoon. This late afternoon. Here's what we're going to be talking about tonight.
It's almost my bedtime.
You are going to bed so early these days. I slept 12 hours last night.
Dang.
For the first time ever, my aura said my sleep score was like 80. Best sleep score I've ever gotten. What are your sleep scores usually? I don't know if the last couple weeks would be a good indicator. Maybe it would, because you've been sleeping a lot.
I know. It's like nap. Did you nap?
So, in the spirit of creepy movies coming about, Halloween, all of the things,
Mhm.
we have shared that Nat and I have some movies in common that were huge, kind of with the cult following when the
Mhm.
slasher movies started coming out. And so we're going to do a case today that you don't know about that was inspired by the movie Scream.
Which is crazy.
Uh-huh. And so we're going to talk about this one, and then we're going to get into some of the psychology of these teenagers doing heinous things. We're going to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah,
So, pardon my stuffiness. It just is what it is right now.
that's okay. I'm
Okay.
always stuffy now.
You are always stuffy now. I feel like you're gonna have like river water in you forever.
Yeah, it's like my souvenir.
It is your souvenir. It's just gonna go through life with you now. That's just
It
where we
is.
are. Okay, I have two ways we can do this. I want to know your preference.
Okay,
I can tell the story and then backtrack and talk about the people, or I can just take you through the whole thing with who the people are.
let's start with the story and then tell me about the people.
Yes, I love a good story.
Okay.
Okay. It all starts out
Mm-hmm.
on September 22nd of 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there is this teenage girl and she is house sitting for some close family friends. Very responsible girl, sweet girl, and she's taking care of this house. And while she's hanging out there, she decides to have a couple friends over.
Mm-hmm.
So she invites her boyfriend over, as every good teenage girl would. If you're
Okay.
house sitting, right? That sounds like a
Yeah.
good time.
Right.
He invites two of his friends.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Those two friends spend about 2 hours at the house before they leave. And then there were just kind of some noises and some things happening in the house. And ultimately, the girl got a little bit spooked, just a little spooked. And that's not uncommon. I was spooked every single time I did everything.
Yeah.
Babysitting, house watching, anything, I would get a little spooked as it's part of teenage girl. That's just part
Yeah.
of living as a
Yeah.
teenage girl. Little spooked. The boyfriend's being real sweet about the fact that she was spooked. They're watching TV in the living room. And so the lights turn off.
Hmm.
And then they turn on again in the house. And it wasn't like a neighborhood blackout. It was like the lights in the house go off, the lights in the house go on.
Oh, hell no.
There's a bang downstairs, and she's sitting with her boyfriend in the living room, and they're both kind of hearing it, but they're trying to kind of talk it down. They're trying to convince
Heck
themselves it's
no.
just a weird thing.
I would be out of there in like a second.
I know, but
There's
think
no
about it
way.
like when you're really responsible. Like I remember being a little creeped out babysitting, and it's like at what point are you just being irrational, right? And I think you try to talk yourself down, right?
But if the lights turn on and off and then you hear a big, like a bang
You're
somewhere,
hearing like kind of like house creaky settling noises, but they heard a bang,
ugh.
couple things. Additionally, okay, this is probably the creepiest part.
Where is this again?
Pocatello, Idaho.
Why? Idaho's just creepy.
I guess so. It's creepy to me now. I didn't know anything about it, but now I think it's terrible. I don't know
Anyway.
that I'll ever go there. I'm so scared. Okay.
No.
So in addition to, you're cozied up with your boyfriend, you're a little creeped out. It's only like 10 o'clock at night. It's not super late.
Right.
Feeling a little spooked. The lights have come back on, so you're like, whatever, maybe it's a little glitch. Like my lights sometimes go out and on in my house. Like, whatever, you never know. The dogs keep staring down the basement steps.
No, 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 no,
And
no.
they're barking and growling, and this is making the girl feel a little bit more unsettled. And the girl is feeling more unsettled than the boy because, as we know,
Boys just don't
fundamentally,
have that.
women are a little bit more likely to feel fear in these situations. And
Yeah.
also, even in our brains, as we presented this past summer,
Yes.
women have a little bit of a more of a gut feeling about
Yes.
things. And so the girl had a weird gut feeling. So the boyfriend calls his mom and asks if he could stay the night to help her feel safe.
Okay.
Mom's like, absolutely not.
Sure.
You cannot.
Sorry, back up. So was she babysitting or was she just home alone?
She was house sitting, their friend's house.
Got it, got it, got it. Okay.
So she's house sitting. And I think that's part of why the noises, they were kind of battling whether or not to make a big deal out of the noises because you're at somebody else's house and
Sure.
what are the odds that it's something terrible, right? You don't think this. Okay.
I would nope. I just couldn't.
I know, it's already just okay. So the mom says, no, you cannot stay the night there. Let's call it a leftover from purity culture. I'm still mad about it. Mom says no, right? She's trying to be a good mom, I guess, in theory. She's not trying to have grandbabies. So she's like, no, you cannot stay the night there.
Yes, yes.
Although they could have had sex at any point at the house. Whatever. It's a whole thing. I don't
100%.
understand all
I
these
get
things,
it.
but
I
it's
get
fine.
it.
The mom, though, because she is a good mom, I guess, in that way, she tells her son she can come stay at our house, though. If she's really not feeling safe, she can come stay at our house. That would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
The girl said, you know what? I'm being ridiculous. She feels really responsible for the house that these people have trusted her with. So she declines.
Okay.
She
Okay.
says, I'm going to stay here. It's going to be fine. I'm going to bed pretty soon. It's all good. Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So at about 10:30 p.m., like I said, that's kind of when all this was going down. Mom comes and picks up her son.
Mm-hmm.
And on his way home, he called the other boys to see where they were doing because maybe he would go to a movie later or something like that. I think
Okay.
the girl was feeling tired. Whatever. Or maybe he
Sure.
had a curfew hanging out with girlfriend. I don't know what the deal was.
Okay.
Okay. Couple days later, the boyfriend cannot get a hold of her.
Oh no.
Yeah, for days. For days. Couldn't get a hold of her.
Shouldn't he have called that in like a day later?
Well, they didn't.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, maybe they did, but police don't get involved in every little thing. So I don't know
Okay.
why they didn't, but then the family came back
Mm-hmm.
and they discover her and she's dead in the living room.
Oh
And
my
she's been
gosh.
stabbed over 30 times.
Oh my gosh.
12 of the wounds were fatal. Most of them were to the right ventricle of the heart.
Mm,
Yep.
that's so sad.
And the boyfriend, everyone's account was the boyfriend was calling and calling and calling and calling to try to get a hold of her and was
Yeah.
very worried.
Mm.
Okay.
Also, like, where were her parents?
Great question.
Okay.
Did not hear anything.
Okay.
Didn't hear anything about that. So what are your first thoughts? Okay, this poor girl's trying to take care of this house. Couple creepy things are happening, but you can kind of explain them away. Boyfriend is picked up by his mom,
Hmm.
goes home, and she's found a couple days later with 30 stab wounds, and she'd been dead for a few days.
Well, anytime there's something creepy like that, you leave.
Well, absolutely. When we get
Like,
to I mean, I have
I just
so
can't
many
with
things
that.
to say about that. Like
I
you
know.
freaking leave and you don't run upstairs and there's a million rules.
Yes. Yes.
The rules for staying alive are many.
But it's like honestly my childhood slash like current my forever nightmare because movies like that, it's like a movie.
Yeah,
Movies like that have always scared the crap out of me. I don't get super
same,
scared with like ghosty movies or
same.
like paranormal movies. Like they creep me out a little, you know?
Oh,
But movies like that where it's like someone's in the house or like you're babysitting and they're like, don't, whatever, don't go up the stairs or
yes.
whatever they say, or don't answer the phone. Stuff like that creeps me out because there's crazy people.
Well, and let me ask you, when you would babysit or house sit
Uh-huh.
as a teenager, would you get creeped out?
All the time.
Same. Always. Always.
But I usually never babysat by myself.
But when you got creeped out, did you leave?
No, but I'd have someone come over. I'd have a parent come over.
Yeah, I was apt to call call a boyfriend or tell my parents,
Yeah.
but I never left. I never left,
Well,
and I didn't always have somebody come over.
I did one time. We did. It was a friend of mine, and we were babysitting. We had like kindergarten buddies. Also, we babysat in fifth grade. Like
Oh, that's very
Rules,
young. I started in
rules,
sixth though.
rules now have changed for good
Yeah.
reason. But yeah, we would babysit in fifth grade like little kindergartners. And so we babysat my friend's little kindergarten buddy and her sister. And we actually brought them to my parents' house because we were so scared at their house.
Well, that's genius though. At
I
least
know.
you knew to,
Mm-hmm.
I started at babysitting business. I never just babysat. I came up with a business, of course. We made
Of course.
flyers, me and my friend, the whole nine yards. It was like the
Love
Babysitters
that.
Club. We were going to employ other people.
Yes, the
Had
whole
a
thing.
bag full of supplies, you know.
Yes.
It's just, I don't even remember being an imaginative child. I was like doing paperwork at 4. I don't know what my problem was, but I would routinely talk myself out of being creeped out. I was uber
Mhm.
responsible and I would just talk myself down. I would be like, you know what? And my friends, we've already established, would mess with me and whatever. So
Right.
I am the type who says I would leave. And I really believe I would leave.
Hmm.
Now, certainly as an adult, I would leave if I felt creeped out, even if it made me look dumb or whatever.
Well,
But
and
I can't think of a single time that I actually left when I felt creeped out.
I know, but I also think babysitting and house sitting are two different things.
That's true.
If I'm house sitting, bye. Bye
That's
bye.
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bring those dogs to my house if they're not mine.
Absolutely.
If I'm babysitting, it's a little different. But if I'm house sitting, nah, I'm not staying in your creepy house.
No, I mean, that's fair.
Anyway, yeah, so it reminds me of the movies that used to and currently still scare me.
Well, and you and I have talked about our shared love of the Scream movies. I love
Yes.
them. But I
Yeah.
kind of have this prevailing philosophy that the anticipation is the worst part.
Uh-huh.
That's the part that I hate. Once you're in front of me, like game on, mother trucker, like I will end you like when they hit him with a golf club and stuff, like I will
Right.
mess you up.
Right.
Like you might take me out, but it's gonna hurt tomorrow,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Which is when we talk about dangerous personalities, about how to kind of posture yourself in a way that
Yeah.
maybe you're not a target. You got to walk around like you're going to mess somebody up. But
Yeah.
the anticipation is the part that makes scary movies so scary.
Yeah.
That's going to be important when I tell you the rest of the story.
Okay.
So, as you are kind of wrapping your head around this case and what happened to this poor girl, the sweet girl,
Hmm.
what are you thinking in terms of who might have done it? Like, is it more likely to be a stranger? Is it more likely
Well,
to be somebody she tangentially knows?
I feel like most of the time in these situations, it's people that you know
Mm-hmm.
and know, like, someone probably knew that she was house sitting,
Yep.
you know?
Like maybe she talked about it at school or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, school or yeah, someone new.
Well, and I should tell you, it's her aunt and uncle's house, not a family friend's house. It was her aunt and uncle's house.
Oh,
Yeah, aunt and uncle's house.
interesting. Okay.
Yes. So let me introduce you to the friends that the boyfriend called to come over. You're
Oh
gonna
no.
hate this. You already look so scared.
Oh, I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm already
Oh,
mad.
get ready. Okay. The two boys that the boyfriend called to invite over, Brian Draper and Torey at Adamcik. I
Okay.
can't say his name very well, so they're going to be Brian and Torey. I'm not going to
Okay.
refer to them by their last names because they're hard to say. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. When he invited them over, what I didn't tell you when I told the story the first time is when the boys were at the house, before they left, they secretly unlocked a basement door so that they could get back in.
Wait, wait, wait.
So remember when I said the boyfriend called and invited two of his friends and they came over for about 2 hours. So the four of them are hanging out. The two friends, the boyfriend, and Cassie. And the boyfriend's name is Matt,
Okay.
and the girl's name is Cassie.
Okay.
Okay. So Cassie and Matt were the ones hanging out at the house, and it's
Yep.
Cassie's aunt and uncle's house.
Yep.
And then Matt calls up his friend, Tori,
Yep.
who brought along his friend, Brian. And while they were at the house at some point, they secretly unlocked the basement door so they could come back in later that same night.
So Matt knew.
Well, we'll just have to see.
Okay.
Okay. So they came back shortly after,
Hmm.
parked down the street. They put on dark clothing, masks, and gloves.
Okay.
They snuck back into the house through the basement door
Hmm.
while Cassie and Matt were watching TV in the living room.
Okay.
They made loud noises to lure them to the basement, and they were trying to scare them. So they kept trying different noises. They'd drop a tool, they'd slam a door, they'd stomp on a step.
That's so creepy.
They would do different things, and what they were really trying to do was get them to come down to the basement,
The two of them.
the two of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, it got creepy.
I know, it's so creepy. When that didn't work, they found the circuit breaker and they turned off all the power. Still, Matt and Cassie don't come downstairs.
Right. Because why would you go to the basement when you're terrified?
And that's also why the dogs kept staring and growling and everything, is because they could smell slash hear, possibly even saw
Yep.
these guys in the basement.
Yep.
Okay. At 10:30, when Matt left the house,
Hmm.
and I had mentioned in passing that he called the boys to see what they were doing, to see if he could connect with them later.
Yep.
Torey picks up the phone. He's talking so quietly that Matt thought they were at the movies.
Hmm.
So he's talking very quiet and he just gets off the phone real quick.
Okay.
Okay.
So Matt didn't know.
Matt didn't know.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Tori and Brian again threw the circuit breaker and waited, hoping she would come down. When
Dang.
she didn't, they go upstairs. So at that point, they're like, we're just going to go upstairs. Brian had a dagger style weapon and Tori had a hunting knife with like a fixed blade. Brian opened and slammed a closet door pretty close to where she was, trying to scare her, but they couldn't wake her up or frighten her. So she'd fallen asleep on the couch and she was out.
Okay.
They then attacked her.
Wow. While she was asleep,
Hmm.
she couldn't even like attempt to defend herself.
I'm sure she tried, but I mean, she had two guys on her and she didn't see him coming.
Well, if you're, yeah, if you're asleep, you're screwed.
Yep, and she didn't see him coming.
Yeah.
So they leave her body and they flee. The next day, Tori met up with Matt, and Tori was there while Matt was calling and calling and calling Cassie. Literally sat with his friend while he was calling.
Wow.
They would have killed Matt as well.
So to kill both of them.
Hmm. That was the plan.
I'm guessing you're gonna get to this, but I'm just like dying to know why.
Oh, we're gonna get there.
Okay.
We're gonna get there. Okay. Investigators, of course, realized fairly quickly that Brian and Tori were the last to see Cassie alive.
Hmm.
They were able to figure it out, I think, from the cell phones. But when they took the two in for questioning, Tori kept saying they were at the movies. They had this great story. But then when they asked him about the movie, he couldn't remember anything about the movie.
Okay.
3 days after they're taken in, Brian led law enforcement to a stash of evidence he'd buried. So they'd buried the following: two dagger style knives with sheaths, a silver and black handled knife with a smooth blade, a folding knife, red and white mask, latex gloves, and video that contained footage of both killers planning Cassie's murder.
So they basically just ratted on themselves.
Oh, totally. Yeah, they gave in like nothing, which is what
Okay.
teenagers do, honestly,
I
most of
know.
the
They're
time,
hard.
right?
They can't hang for too
They
long.
can hang. These are not seasoned psychopaths. They're
That's
just
valid.
little babies, right?
Yeah.
The tape included footage of them talking after they killed her as well.
Mm.
I know. And then I have a transcript of it that I may or may not come back to. But one of the things that they said was, she's our friend, but we all have to make sacrifices. We all have to make
What?
sacrifices, which is just a very weird thing to say. And both of them kind of talked about how it didn't feel real.
Hmm.
So,
And what inspired them?
what they found in the process of going through all of their stuff, they loved the movie Scream and
Oh,
all kinds of scary movies. They had recorded documentary style videos about how they were horror movie fans and wanted to reenact it in real life. They started a death list the day of Cassie's murder. So their plan was actually to kill multiple people in the friend group. So what they wanted to do was kill this couple first. And in the original Scream movie, that's kind of what happens, right? He's getting
yeah.
after that one character, but then the boyfriend's outside,
Yeah.
right?
I feel like that also happens in one of the newer ones too.
Yep. Yeah, it
Like
did.
they were inspired by,
Yep, absolutely. So basically, these are two teenagers who decided to try to make their own scary movie.
wow.
So in April of 2007, Brian was found guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Torey was convicted of the same like 2 months later.
Hmm.
They're both serving life sentences without the possibility of parole, plus 30 to life for conspiracy to commit the crimes.
Hmm.
And they're both serving their sentences at the Idaho State Correctional Institution.
Okay.
They're both trying to appeal. They're not having any luck. I don't think
There,
that
well,
they will.
no, duh. No
Yeah,
one's gonna take their appeal.
absolutely. So when we talk about the psychology of these two knuckleheads, let's get into it a little bit.
Knuckleheads is that's nice.
I know sociopaths.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, by the way, psychopath, sociopath, same difference, doesn't matter. But
Cool.
yeah, they're definitely little baby sociopaths.
Hmm.
We don't know what was going on in their brains in terms of brain scans and all that kind of stuff. Like Wade Wilson, we got to actually know what's going on with his brain.
Right.
I couldn't find anything on their brains.
Yeah.
However, what do we see a lot of times with these teenage killers? Why are there two of them?
Well, one's usually the ringleader.
That's exactly what I wrote down.
Yeah.
Usually one's a ringleader.
And then they like find, they pick the other person who's similar to them in some ways, or kind of the weaker link who will follow
Hmm.
suit.
Yeah, maybe
No.
dumber. Sometimes they're just not as smart. They'll
Yeah,
pick it.
exactly. There's usually like the mastermind and then the one that's like, I'm just along for the ride.
Absolutely. Now, unlike some other cases, they were both equally violent. So
Hmm.
both weapons were involved in murdering her.
Because sometimes you see that one, like the one that you talked about before, like there's one usually that is more violent than the
Absolutely.
other, and the other one has more like remorse or tends to have a little bit more remorse.
Yeah. Well, when you think about how uncommon it is to have a psychopath in general,
Mm-hmm.
to have two find each other is pretty unusual.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's interesting in this case, when I look at just the facts, because I can't find out more about the psychology. I really tried to dig.
Yeah.
My money is on Torey being a little bit more of a problem
Okay.
because he was Matt's friend.
Okay.
So Matt wasn't super good friends with the other dude. He wasn't super good friends with Brian. He was friends with Torey.
Right.
Torey's the one who flipped on his friend. Torey's the one who stood there while
Hmm.
he called and called and called, checking on his girlfriend and didn't crack. Also, Brian was the one who cracked first and took him to where the evidence was buried.
Hmm. Yeah. So there you go.
So if I had to make a
Mm-hmm.
wild guess, I would guess that Torey was the more sophisticated of the two, probably.
Yeah.
Also
Yeah.
Brian was kind of the tag along friend, which makes me think maybe Torey had a little bit more social
Yeah.
savvy or more
Yeah.
friendships maybe than Brian
Yeah.
did. All of this is pure speculation.
That is so crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
So, one of the questions, obviously, in this case and in so many, is what is the impact of media on our children? Because remember when
Mm-hmm.
Columbine happened, everybody was like, it's those damn video games. And
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Now, do they help? No.
Right.
If we use video games to train our military to be ready for battle, we are
Hmm.
training our children to be ready for violence when they're playing video games. So there is some truth to the psychology of that.
Yeah, yeah.
But why is media not solely responsible for these behaviors?
Well, my brain automatically goes to the question of what are their families like?
Hmm.
What are, like where do they fall in terms of their family? What was their early childhood like? That's where my brain goes to.
Yeah, and teenagers are freaking twisty. Their neurons are
Yes.
everywhere connecting to
Yes.
everything, new pathways, and so they can get sucked into some of this kind of stuff.
Yes.
You and I watched the same movies. We watched Scream, and all it taught us was don't be sitting on the edge in a sleepover. You sit in the middle. You sit in the middle.
Sit in the middle.
So you have a little warning, so then you can
Uh-huh.
come at them like a mother trucker, right? But
Hmm. Hmm.
otherwise, we didn't, I was never inspired by one of these. Maybe I was inspired to become a forensic therapist, who knows? But I was definitely not inspired to go hurt anyone.
Right.
So, by sheer fact that not everyone who sees something like this does something like this, we can't blame the media.
Hmm.
Can't blame alcohol because I drink too much and teach a whole bar to line dance. I don't hurt anybody, right? I'm a lot. I don't drink because I'm hard to
Yes.
get home in that situation. I'm not going to hurt anybody, right?
Right.
So it's too simplistic to just look at media,
Right.
right? But teenage brains are vulnerable, more
Hmm.
vulnerable than adult brains to influence,
Hmm.
to drugs, to all kinds of things because they're
Hmm.
still forming.
Yeah.
If they had all of this stuff, how'd they buy it? Where'd they put it? These are the questions I have,
Yeah.
right? They were videotaping themselves where and when.
Which is crazy to me. Does it talk about their family?
Mm-mm.
Oh, bummer.
You can't find much information. We can dig back in. You're better at finding all those nitty-gritty details than I am.
Yeah,
So
maybe I'll look.
you look because you might find something wild that I couldn't find, but there wasn't a
Mhm.
ton. And because it happened in gosh, when was it? 2006, I want to say.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it happened in 2006, we just don't have quite as much information as now when these cases happen.
Yeah.
It's a little harder.
Yeah.
Don't you just wish it's kind of like Eric and Dylan with Columbine
Mhm.
that maybe the parents had, really looked in the closet or under the bed or,
Yeah.
because they had written plans. I mean, this was planned out to a T.
That is so wild.
And they would have killed, like I said, they would have killed the boyfriend. They didn't just come back because boyfriend left. That's not why.
Well, boyfriend was still there.
Well, boyfriend,
They were
well, yeah,
living.
they were messing around. If he'd
Well,
gone down the stairs with her when the lights went out, they would have
yeah.
killed both of them.
Yeah.
Now, I think they were probably a little bit chicken shit and probably would not have done as well in a fight with boyfriend involved too,
Right.
most likely.
Like two of them there might have been a bigger fight.
That's one of the things that continues to gnaw at me about the Moscow murders is that there was a large athletic male in the home.
Yeah.
That makes me think he didn't know he was there because,
Right.
these guys are kind of path of least resistance folks,
Mhm.
and that could have been an awful lot of resistance.
Right. Well, and this dude, like you said, they're chicken shit because of, whatever. But also, like they wait, she's asleep.
Oh yeah,
Like you can wake a girl up if you want a little bit of a fight.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and these are not large folks either. Like if you see the videos of them, they're just a couple little knuckleheads, little teenage
Yeah.
knuckleheads. Like they're
Yeah.
not, you know, they're not huge, they're not muscular, they're not anything.
Yeah.
They just had this crazy idea and decided that they were going to be those two characters from Scream.
Wow.
And the fact that they had a list means they were arrogant enough to think they were going to be able to do it again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've we know many people
Hmm.
who fall into that place of thinking they'll get away with things that they don't get away with, right? And I'm not talking about just our clients, I'm talking about just
Oh.
people in general.
Hmm.
And those are adults.
Hmm.
Of course, teenagers are gonna, in their dreamy little brain, they're thinking, I'm gonna be able to figure this out. I'm gonna keep my nose clean. No one's gonna know.
Well, and I'm sure this is not a massive city. I'd never heard of it. The
Mm-hmm.
whole thing in Scream is these kids kind of terrorize this community within this high school.
Right.
And I think if that was their plan, they certainly didn't think things through in terms of they had been there that night. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they thought the boyfriend would take the fall, but the boyfriend went home with his mom and the murders happened after.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't a lot of forethought.
Yeah, it's too bad thank God he didn't stay the night,
I know.
for
I just
him.
can't help but think, and I just feel so bad. I feel bad for the parents of Cassie,
Yeah.
but Matt's mom too. Like if she had maybe insisted,
Yeah.
you know,
Like bring the dogs. It's
yes,
fine.
just come on over. And especially knowing it was aunt and uncle's house of
Mm-hmm.
the daughter. I don't know why she didn't call her parents. I don't know why her parents didn't come get her or come stay with her. I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
But in some ways, this one was preventable. And there's this whole book by, I believe it's Gavin DeBecker, The
Okay.
Gift of Fear. This
Mm.
is a life-changing book. I read it. I've referenced it on here before. We're going to put it on the website. It is a game changer book because what it does is it teaches you to respect that voice that tells you to get out every single time, no matter how inconvenient.
Yeah.
You
Your
have
body
to
tells you
listen to it.
things.
Your body is telling you things. Your animals were telling you things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you just have to listen. And she could have gone right out the door with
Mm-hmm.
those two and gotten away that night. Now, would these two have maybe just come back and done it another time? Possibly, yeah.
Sure. But it would have been harder.
It would have been harder. They would have been at a house with parents and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in those moments, I think when we have those feelings, we just have to listen to them.
Mm.
And as parents, we have to sometimes screw the rules to keep people safe. So
Mm.
if you end up with an extra kiddo staying the night, it doesn't buy them an extra Chick-fil-A meal. Like just bring them home.
Whatever. Yeah.
Just me. And I appreciate that mom offered
Yeah.
to bring her over, but we need to take that really seriously when kids are worried about things.
Yes, like scared.
Or if their behavior really starts to change, get in there.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden they have a journal, I've never really done that before, read that freaking journal. I know
Right.
all the things about safety, whatever, I get it. Like
Yeah.
we want to give our teenagers privacy, but teenagers are so damn squirrely.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get in there. You
Mm-hmm.
really do it is not more important. We do not need to be their friends. We need to be their parents.
Yes.
And I've worked with, I think you have too, but I've done some evaluations on folks, on teenagers who've gotten in trouble for threatening classmates.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done some of those evaluations, and there's a fair bit of collateral I try to get from other people's feelings
Mm-hmm.
around this person.
Mm-hmm.
And almost always, the only reason this person got an evaluation is because somebody said there's been a change,
Mm-hmm.
or I feel weird when I'm around them,
Mm-hmm.
or I saw them get really angry once and it just was more than the average bear.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that didn't sound right, or a joke that didn't land right,
Right.
And so
Mm-hmm.
we have to really, really trust our kids when they say these things.
Yeah.
If they're being dramatic and you let them stay home, okay,
Yeah.
they're safe.
Yeah.
There's an element to that where I think we just have to make those decisions sometimes
Mm-hmm.
and not talk ourselves out of our feelings.
Yes.
What do you think of that? I don't think you knew about that case, did you?
No, I feel like I've heard of a similar case.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of it, but I can't think of it.
Yeah.
Where did you see this case?
So I've known about this case for a very long time.
Okay.
And I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is my worst fear. This is what I was afraid of in high school. after I saw
Absolutely.
this. This was the fear. This is why a whole generation of women were creeped out babysitting. Women have been creeped out babysitting since the beginning of time. I don't think that's ever, people were living in tents and they were probably scared babysitting their children. Like,
Right.
this is not new, but being afraid of this type of thing happening, this exact thing,
Hmm.
was really heightened when we were teenagers because of the movies that hit then that are still
Hmm.
like cult classic movies,
Yeah. Yep.
you know? Isn't it spooky?
So spooky. I'm trying to think of that movie that is about babysitting. Do you remember what it's called?
Mm. Oh, When a Stranger Calls.
Is that it?
Oh,
Mm.
that one is so scary. That one happened, they say, in Colorado based on the urban legend of the call coming from in the house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she's babysitting in that one, kind of in this
Yeah.
like really fancy house. That's a good scary
Yeah.
movie.
Ugh. I hate all of it.
That is a good one. Well, you say you hate it, but you also kind of love
I
it.
do love it. I love it, but it's so it like crit. Ugh.
I don't know that we've ever watched a scary movie together, have we?
I'm no, fine. You'd remember because I'm one of those that yells.
Same.
I yell.
We probably shouldn't go to the theaters together then. We need to just have a sleepover and be in a
Hmm.
place where our husbands can tolerate us.
I know Preston's always like, Natalie, shh.
Mm-mm. I do the thing where I'll hold up a blanket
Yes,
so
and
I
then you'll
can't
peek
see,
through it.
and I either peek through or I make Garrett tell me what's happening. I've been doing that since I was 20 years old. I'd be like,
Oh, see, I
Garrett,
peek. I do the like tiny peephole.
well, I'd rather hear from Garrett what's happening.
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't feel, it's anticipatory stress is really hard for me. I don't like to anticipate anything. My brother growing up, shout out Eric, he's the worst. I mean, I love him, but he's the worst. He would hide in my closet
That's
when
mean.
I would go to bed, and he would stay in there the whole time. I'm getting ready for bed. The lights are completely out in my room, and I am starting to go to sleep, and he would jump out of my closet.
No,
And we're talking, he was little, like 6, 7,
I'm
not like a
pretty
big
sure.
kid.
I don't know how Mason didn't do that stuff, but he never did that stuff.
He probably knew you'd punch him in the face, and he's not wrong. You really would. I know you. You would haul off and hit him probably.
I know I probably would have.
So here's what I did to Eric. Oh, he's gonna hate me for sharing this, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Whatever.
So he was, 5 or 6, right?
Hmm.
And I finally saw my chance to get back at him.
Hmm.
And he's in his room and he's rearranging his Lion King figurines on the windowsill in the dark.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
he's not scared of the dark because nobody scares him in the dark. That's my job. That's my reality, not his, right? Because I'm a nice
Hmm.
big sister. I scared the shit out of him, Nat. I came up behind him and I was really quiet and he was distracted with those little figurines and he started crying. He was like, Spanker, Daddy, Spanker. Like he was so mad. He wanted me to get in trouble. And my parents were like, she's not in trouble.
No, because he
You
does.
had that coming. He had that coming.
That's so
I
funny.
don't know that he ever hid in my closet after that, but he would like jump out and scare me.
Yeah.
Mason never jumped out and scared you?
No, he would jump out. We would both do that to each other, but never like he would never like hide under the bed or like hide in my
Oh,
closet.
I still hate it to this day.
Oh
I
yeah.
hate it. I hate any anticipatory stress.
Yeah.
So even when scary things have happened in my life, I really kind of bebop along like everything's fine.
Hmm.
But if you mess with me,
Hmm.
like I will hurt you. Like
Right.
when I was, oh, you know where that Red Robin used to be up in Boulder by campus
Yes.
that was off 28th?
Yep.
It's not even there anymore.
It's not.
No, I don't think it's still there. I didn't see it last time I was up there.
I love Red Robin.
Oh, I know, me too. So that's where I was the bird. I was the bird at that Red Robin.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
But I would work these really late shifts and I didn't have a car initially. So then my parents were like, hey, we're going to hook you up with a way to get home because I was like closing up at 11 and walking all the way home on the campus and stuff. So I get my car. I'm going to my car one day
Hmm.
and super late. I mean, it was probably 11:30, like we were shutting it down.
Right.
And this arm comes out of nowhere and grabs my door.
Nope.
And girl, I didn't even look back. His arm may still be hanging from that car somewhere. I don't even know. I hit the gas and I just took off. And I heard cursing, and then I'm pretty sure he hit the ground. I don't think I ran him over. I don't
Well,
honestly know.
who gives a rat's ass if
I
you
just took
did?
off. I freaking took off.
Like, bro,
Absolutely. I wasn't gonna even have a conversation.
no,
It could have just been some poor homeless guy asking for some change. It could have
I
been
don't
a
care.
girl that I knew. It didn't matter. I slammed that. I mean, I was just out of there. Like, just,
That's ridiculous.
isn't
You
that
don't,
crazy?
you don't approach a woman at night
No,
and expect not to have something coming.
no, absolutely.
Like, that's just not a thing.
So that's our Brian Draper and Torey Adamcik scream killings story.
Wow. I'm gonna have to look that up later, see if there's like a video
Hmm.
on it.
I know, and I wish there were more encouraging things to share, except just kind of the normal challenge we give you guys, which is believe your kids, listen to
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
and protect yourself.
Yes.
And also that the boyfriend, by all accounts, actually was really, really sweet and was feeling protective and was recognizing that this was wrong, something was off.
Yes. Yes.
And I
Did
really feel for
did he
him.
give any statement about his friends doing that?
I don't think so. I didn't find any statements. And,
Wow.
I
They're
mean,
probably protecting them by not like him, not by not having him say anything.
well, and when you're under 18, they won't even publish your name a lot of times until
Yeah.
further down the road. So
Mhm.
I wasn't able to find much.
Yeah.
I know. So anyway, that's a spooky one. And if you are a teenager listening to this, don't scare your friends. You might not like what you get.
No. Do not scare your friends. Here's the thing, at the end of the day, if you do something like that,
Hmm.
like, you know what, jump from around the corner. Sure, you might get punched in the face, but whatever.
Yeah.
Don't do stuff like that. Like,
No.
it could actually be really detrimental to either person.
Even if you are completely joking and the motive is just to be funny.
Like, if a friend of mine came to
Mm-mm.
my house and even was like knocking on windows trying to scare me,
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know me, we're not anti-gun in this home.
Lock and load.
You know what I mean?
No,
So
I
it's
know.
like, I don't mess with that. Like, absolutely not.
You don't mess with it. And on that note, while firearms have made us less and less safe in this country in many
Yes.
respects,
Yes, and I
more
agree with that.
more people are packing now than ever. And so you just cannot mess around.
No, like you just don't want to. Here's the thing, we are responsible individuals. I don't,
Oh no, you have gun safe. We have a gun safe. I
exactly. Like
absolutely
we
we
have
keep it
all the
safe.
things. I don't like carry it around, like, but don't come to my house and mess with me.
Mm-mm.
Don't do it,
No, it's true. I agree.
you know?
I agree. I think people will and should protect themselves in their homes. So
Yes.
you just have to kind of know.
Oh, yeah. So if you're a teen, don't do stupid stuff. Like learn
Mm.
from this. Don't
Yes.
don't be dumb.
And if you are a parent, get into your teenager stuff, as we always say,
Mhm.
and also watch their media content, especially when they're really, really young.
Yes.
And I know these guys were like in 11th grade, but
That's
I
tough.
know I know kids who are watching Scream in middle school and stuff, and their brains really just can't they
Oh,
can't
yeah.
compute that stuff,
I was watching Scream in middle school. I was watching all the scary movies in
I
middle
saw it
school.
in like 6th grade, scared the
I
poop
might have
out of me.
actually saw some of it in elementary school.
Ah, I couldn't have handled it. My 6th grade self couldn't handle it.
Yeah. I mean, I watched the first scary movie I watched was Pet Cemetery. And like you watch them now and they're real cheesy, but back then
Oh,
they were
yeah.
terrifying.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
You know? I wouldn't get out. I would jump out of my bed so no one would cut my Achilles tendon.
Absolutely. So here's my $1,000,000 question.
Okay.
Does your lilac Forensic Friday sweatshirt make you feel as safe as your comfort sweatshirt?
Mm, I like them for different reasons.
What are the different reasons?
Well, the Forensic Friday one is thinner,
Yeah,
so I can hang in it a
doesn't make
little.
you hot.
It doesn't make me super hot. The comfort ones, it's weird. The comfort ones don't necessarily make you hot right away, but over time,
Yeah.
I get like real sweaty.
Well, especially if we're working up a good head of steam when we're recording.
Yes. So it's like I love the Forensic Friday because it's thinner and so it feels a little more feasible right
I
now.
am
Well,
wearing
well,
comfort sweatpants though. I'm wearing a tank top, but
there you go.
you just can't beat those comfort sweats, man. You
I
really can't.
know.
So if you want either one, hit up our website for our merch or
Yeah.
comfort.com, comfort.com/forensic15.
Yep. You get 15% off. So
Well, we love you guys. And as always,
thank you, our forensic friends.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.